Hey, NOSA community. It is Shamika, and I am back. We're out here trying something new and different. Hope everybody is doing well. I think we're going to scram the headphones, they're distracting. But I just wanted to jump in today and talk with you guys about a topic that comes up very, very often in the NOSA group. And it's around, hey, trying to get started, having some struggles getting started. So, how do you handle that? What is that supposed to look like? What are some things you can do in the meantime? So, this specifically is for new NOSAs who are in the between time space. And what that looks like is maybe you have started the process, but you haven't obtained a contract or you're having difficulty obtaining staff and you're just not making enough traction. So this is for you guys. So here's a couple of answers, and I'll drop the video I did a couple of years ago around some other businesses, which is what we'll talk about today, that you can create to help create income for your business while you're kind of waiting to get insurance, maybe get a commercial space, while you might be waiting to get that client, get that right client, do a better look or outlook on your recruitment strategy to get the right types of employees. Or you may just be rebranding your business and you want to focus on a different demographic or a different specialty area. So this one's for you. So let's get started. First, as always, welcome back. Thanks for being a part of our community. We're glad to have you here. If you're here and you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. So we're here to move a lot of our content over from Facebook, just because Facebook has some limitations. So we're expanded to the YouTube community here, and we're glad to be here. So let us know the name of your agency. Let us know your social media. If your agency is on YouTube, drop your YouTube name as well, because we want to make sure that we connect with as many NOSAs as possible so that we're able to really expand our community and then make connections. So let's get started. So again, these are the 5 other business ideas that you can do while you're waiting, or if you're kind of in that middle stage of starting your staffing agency. As many people have come to realize, starting a staffing business isn't hard, but it's a little bit more challenging than it was pre-pandemic. So some things you want to take into consideration is that. An example would be you maybe could get your insurances, your professional general liability insurance, and your workers' comp in a 4 to 6 week time frame. But sometimes it may take months. It may include an application process. It might also include additional requirements, whether it be a resume from the owner, employee manual, a safety handbook for your particular agency. So in the meantime, here are a couple of things you can do. And I'll talk a little bit about it. And I've used these as things that I've done as myself as a business owner, as well as I've seen other members in the group do. 1, home health. So home health has been a big part of our industry. And even though we're not home health care agency owners, for the most part, many people have transitioned from that into healthcare staffing. So that's a great way, just because they have very clear guidelines. Home health is a good industry because you can work it as much or as little as you want to. You can do home health in the range of working with just a few clients, or you can work with a massive amount of clients. So there's a lot of flexibility there with home health. So that's one of the things. And they kind of have the same standardized process, which is a little bit different when you talk about healthcare staffing, where it's different in every state. So some staffing agencies may be able to be created in a couple of months. Some may take several months. So with home health care, from what I understand, it's not so much that the process is quicker, as much as it's you fill out the application, you submit your policies and procedures, you have a physical address, a commercial space, you make sure that you have certain requirements. And it's also something that a lot of people have experience in. So I tell people, don't jump outside of your area. So you don't need to get into an industry that you're not sure about. There's so many other angles that you can take within your own industry. So home health. The next one is becoming a CNA teacher. So a lot of us, again, who started in or opened our doors or welcomed or became a part of healthcare staffing, first started out in as CNA schools or school teachers. I was a CNA school teacher several years ago. Many states offer programs that allow you to become a CNA teacher for free. And at some point, if you feel like it's a good fit for you, you can expand and become in a CNA school. But it's a great way to, one, get your feet wet, get kind of involved in the process of developing plans and, speaking in front of people, and some things that people will take a little bit of time to grow into. And then also, depending on how connected your relationship is with the owner, I'm sure there's other opportunities to attend networking events and recruitment fairs and things of that nature that'll make you more comfortable in those environments. And then, of course, CNA schools create an amazing pipeline for potential employees. The next one is CPR instructor. I as well did this. I was a CPR instructor probably first before I started becoming a CNA teacher. And the same thing applies. The process is pretty seamless. It has low cost startup costs involved with it. You take a class. You're usually connected to a site in your area where they kind of, help you manage everything, help you get going. And then from there, you can go out and reach out to clients. One, again, it helps you to get access to a good pool of candidates. This time you're talking nurses, pharmacists, phlebotomists, CNAs, doctors, all types of healthcare professionals that are required, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, who are required to have that CPR, BLS, ACLS, PALS requirement to work. So that's a great opportunity as well. And then number 4 and 5 are going to be some more non-traditional things. These aren't things that I typically have seen any of the NOSAs be a part of, but it's something worth exploring. And that would be medical coding. So if you don't know what medical coding is, in our healthcare space, when we go in and we write notes and people come in and they have procedure codes and things like that, on the back end of that, they typically have a coder or a coder type person that connects a billing code to the reason that the individual was brought into the hospital or what their stay was about. So it could be an office visit, an emergency visit, a surgery, a follow-up visit, and the codes go on and on and on. And from there, that person enters in the codes and or verifies the codes, and then it gets sent off to be billed through the insurance company. So the insurance company could be Medicare, Medicaid. It could be, private insurance like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Anthem, Cigna, Optum, all of those, United Healthcare, all those plans kind of, mirror it up to make sure that it is what they say it is. And a lot of people do it as 1099s. So you can, one, work as an individual, like a 1099 employee contractor, which is very common in the medical coding space. And again, trying to get access to do it, you do have to get certifications. Most of the programs don't require any sort of prior education and or experience, but that might be a benefit. And if you're a nurse, you kind of already innately have it. So that's something to look into. And then also you may have to get that certification. So you will have to sit for, I think they have 4 or 5 different types of certification, depending on the school that you go through, but it's something that's totally doable. I've heard of people doing it over a summer to get the certification. And then just like a little bit like nursing, once you get the experience, you kind of can cross over into other spaces. And that might look like clinical documentation, clinical CDIs, clinical documentation, but documentation improvement. Help me out here, guys. CDIs. Also, it may look like quality health care management specialists who do chart reviews at the end of the year, where health insurance companies get graded 1 to 5. And this is kind of in our YouTube channel where I talk about looking up particular facilities, but healthcare companies also get graded on how well they're meeting specific requirements for their health plan. And an example of that would be if I am a member of this health plan and I have diabetes, is my doctor, performing A1C? Are they doing GFR? Are they doing, feet checks? Things like that that can kind of prevent further advancement of the disease. And it's kind of a requirement for that particular health plan to work with different types of patients. So if your doctor's doing it, thumbs up, they get a thumbs up. But if your doctor's not doing it, then they kind of create another pipeline that, has the healthcare insurance company, have nurses like yourself, look into it from a provider standpoint of view to find out what's going on, kind of connect the dots. And I think another comparison would be on the healthcare side, where we see a lot of the Joint Commission requirements around readmissions, hospital acquired infections, and things like that, where they're looking to see where the missing pieces are so that we don't have readmissions, after a 30-day period, or we don't have people getting infections from the hospital because of, safe handling practices. So, and then of course, the last one, CDI, Clinical Documentation Improvement Specialist, and all these positions that I mentioned, I'm going to drop in the comments here, but there are also things that you can do in addition, and you can do as a 1099. So don't forget, guys, as 1099s, you're still working for yourself and your business, even if your ultimate goal is to become a staffing agency owner or a NOSA. CDIs, which is probably not that new, but I think it's gotten more popular over the past few years, is a clinical documentation improvement specialist who actually looks at the doctor's notes. So they're making sure that their notes are lined up with the codes, the right wording is used, the information around what happened during that particular visit or surgery or procedure is in alignment with what we're coding. So it's kind of like another review, as I mentioned, with the medical coding process. So a lot of times you'll see medical coders and clinical documentation improvement specialists working hand in hand. They're just looking at different things. So as I mentioned, these are great things for newbies. This video is especially tailored to my newbies. As always, thanks for being a part of the community. Again, I know this can be a bit of a struggle in getting started. These are some things that you can do. So I have 5 things that I listed, and I'll share 5 more on Thursday that you can be doing to kind of help you get started. And the 5 things that I mentioned today include home health care. So you can start your own home health care agency. Many NOSAs in the group have done that before jumping into staffing. The requirements aren't necessarily more or less, but they're definitely a lot more seamless and a lot more structured to move through. You can become a CNA school instructor. A lot of states, as I mentioned, I know Georgia, and there's a couple of other states, I want to say Georgia, Delaware, offer free courses for nurses to take in order to become a CNA instructor. You can become a CPR instructor, which is something that's fairly reasonable and really allows you the opportunity to do the things you need to do. And then finally, medical coding, CDI, are some things you can do as well. Don't forget to go ahead and follow us for our update on Thursday about the 5 other things you can do.